Okay, you each have one of these books. Welcome to all of you to Constitution in the Classroom. And we have some great things for you to discover that you probably haven't heard before about your Constitution. On your workbook, I want you to look at the front. It gives 3 purposes for this booklet. So, first of all, like I said before, it's going to be a review of facts for the Civics test that's required. So you'll be able to use it for that. And as we go through our lesson and you are filling out the blanks, if you open up you'll see it's a workbook for you. And as we go through the PowerPoint lesson, you will fill in the blanks, and this will help you recall what you've studied, what you've learned today. And we hope that you'll share it with your families, and when you are in school, you're going to have ideas and information that they don't have, and hopefully you can share it with other kids. So that's why the third thing, knowledge to share with other people, to help you learn it and to help you hopefully be able to share it with others too. Okay, then you have your Constitution booklet. This has in it the Constitution and the Declaration. And you might be amazed at how tiny it is. When the Founding Fathers created our Constitution, they definitely knew how to create law that was clear and simple and took care of the needs. So we're going to discover that as we go through. So you'll be into this book looking at things. You'll notice the first page or two has kind of an introduction, and then it has some quotes. Hopefully you've already been introduced to the Founding Fathers who wrote the Constitution. We'll discuss them a lot as we go along, because the success of the Constitution came from them. All right, then on page 1 is where the Constitution begins, and over on page 35 you'll see is the Declaration of Independence. When we study, we have to really understand the Declaration. It influenced the Constitution, so we're going to bring to you some new ideas. We're going to put aside politics. We are not going to talk about Democrats, Republicans. We're not going to discuss politicians. We are going to learn the documents, these documents, the Declaration and the Constitution. So, there's a good question to get us started with. What has the Constitution done for you? Any ideas? I want you to think about it as we go through today's lesson. You are going to be introduced to some amazing things that the Constitution actually did for you. You may have a blank right now, but when I ask you this question later, every hand is going to go up and you're going to know what the Constitution did for you. That's why we want to study it. What did the Constitution do for you? How does it affect your life today? In 2015, when it was written in 1787, you're going to discover how important it is to you. So keep this question in mind, and then I'll ask it again later, okay? All right, colonial day farming. As you look at this picture right here, you are going back in time to the day of the Founding Fathers. You are going back in time to when the Constitution was written. This is how they lived. You're aware that they grew their own food, they produced everything they needed in that day. That was the lifestyle. You've probably visited an Old West town, or maybe you've been to Jamestown or some of these old places where they try to replicate what life was like. The lifestyle was mostly the backyard farming. People had to produce their own food. This is how they lived. All right? Now, look at what we have today. Is farming different? It's amazingly different, isn't it? Okay? So, look at what it was during the founders. Look at what we do today. We don't farm. We don't grow our own food. We don't have a cow if we want milk, right? How did that happen? How did we get from there to there? Any ideas?
Industrialization.
Industrialization, right. We went through an agricultural revolution between here and here. There was a revolution, we're going to find out why it happened, but this revolution made it so that now we don't have to farm, we don't have to grow our own food, we buy everything, don't we? So we are free. And people became free, their time was freed up to do other things. So they weren't in the yard, they weren't chopping down trees and clearing land and planting everything that they wanted to live on. That gradually was taken over by machinery. And so it freed you to do other things, okay? There's a tip, something that the Constitution did for you. Okay, let's look at some other things. Centuries, I mean hundreds of years, this is how people got around. This is their method of transportation out on the desert. All different kinds of buggies, but all pulled by a horse, or just ride the horse, or just walk, right? You know that that's how life used to be for people. Is that how you get around? Okay, so is that an amazing change again? Look at what happened. Because of the revolution, industrial revolution, that began first with the agricultural revolution, then freed people up to start inventing other ways of getting around. Something that we enjoy that's a lot more fun, a lot easier, a lot more comfortable, right? So going back, would you like to travel that way? I don't think I would want to, especially we wouldn't live in Arizona. Okay, all right, so let's look now at communication. If you think about the way you communicate, even your life is very different than mine, because I remember when this was invented. I remember when I didn't have a cell phone. I don't have all the old-fashioned phones on here, but I remember when the dial phone was invented. Played with it as a kid, loved it, thought it was so cool. All right, so we have satellites, we have computers. Look at the ways we communicate. Okay, now we're going to go back in time again. These two pictures represent historical events. So the one on the far left is Pheidippides. He was a Greek. He was running the message because the Greeks had won a battle. This battle happened to take place in the town of Marathon. Ever heard of Marathon before? What's a marathon?
A race.
A race. How long is the marathon?
26 miles.
About how long?
26 miles.
You're right, 26.2 to be exact. Well, Pheidippides was a Greek soldier. They won the battle in the town of Marathon on the coast. And they needed to let the leaders know in Athens, the rulers of Greece. So he ran from Marathon to Athens, which was 26.22 miles, and he got there to give them the message that they had won the battle and to prepare in case the Persians came to their area. All right, so now this may remind you of stories you've heard. You maybe didn't hear about Pheidippides, but I'm sure you know. What was the story? Why was Paul Revere writing? Was he delivering a message?
Yes.
Okay, from where to where? Do you remember?
I think it.
Was it Concord to Lexington?
Yes, from Boston. Remember? Okay, think of American history. Right, so he was delivering a message from Boston to Concord and Lexington. Did he text?
No.
Did he phone call?
No.
Did he quick get the message there in a hurry? You know what? He didn't do any better than Pheidippides, except that he had a horse. I'm not sure why Pheidippides didn't ride a horse, except that it was over a mountain, it was a very rugged trail, so they sent a runner. So he ran the message, and he took a horse and delivered the message. Now, we're going to look at a little timeline here and find these events on our timeline. So why don't you come up, and Mika, will you come up too? So I'm going to have you hold this in. Now, this room is small, so my timeline probably won't be able to be stretched out, but we'll see. You go down there wherever you need to Okay, so come clear back here. All right. On my timeline, the yellow markers are 100 years. Okay, so what's the end year there?
2000 BC.
BC. So this is 2,000 years BC, before Christ, okay? And so then the numbers go down, 17, 16, okay? And we keep going along, 100 years. When we come to the blue marker, that's 1,000. So from here to here is 1,000 years, okay? People are walking, people are farming by hand, people are communicating by running messages. Okay, so we keep going along here until we come to, so we've gone down 900, 800, 700, 6,5. Right here, this red tape is the marathon. Okay? This is the Greek marathon in 490 BC. That's when he ran the message to come. All right, so let this stretch out. I'm going to let you hold that there now. Okay, so keep this in mind. I want you to calculate how many years between marathon and Paul Revere. So here we go. Here is the end of the next century. This is when BC changed to AD, right? BC meaning?
Before Christ.
And AD?
After death.
Okay, so this is the change over here. So now our yellow markers go up, 100, 200, 300. Is this a lot of time? Is this centuries and centuries and centuries? Okay, all the way up to, okay, you hold right there. All right, so there is where Paul Revere made his ride. So how many years are we running the message?
A lot.
Centuries. It's a quick math problem. We're just going to move on.
Oh, so
All right, there you are. It is 2,265 years.
Huh.
Isn't that amazing? That they're still running the message, okay? So as they walk and run and ride horses or buggies or whatever, and then we come to this Paul Revere. Oh, I forgot to mention, hold that again. On here, these green tapes represent inventions. The red ones are events. Here's Columbus, right here. Okay, and so she's holding, this blue was the year 2000. So you can see, even back to Columbus is not very far on this big timeline. This helps you comprehend a little bit the passing of time and how amazingly long we've had history going on. So this is the Magna Carta here. Here's an invention. Hand printing was invented. So that's what the green is. Okay, now I want you to notice what happens here after 1776. I'm in the light there. So what happened with inventions?
A lot of them.
Okay, I want you to see the dramatic difference. Yes, there are so many, they would never fit on here, but this gives you an idea of what it was like, okay? So we're going to refer back to this often, so just kind of stretch that out and put it right over there. Okay, so for all this long time, they are traveling and communicating like this, okay? And until, this is only 200 years, 200 years, that we had that dramatic change. Let me just go back. See there, all of that happened from there to there in just a little over 200 years, okay? And from there, going back in time to there. Look at that, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, so what changed 200 years ago? Why did that happen? Why did we go so long walking? Why did we go so long without a phone?
Because the increase of like the population, so we couldn't.
That could contribute it to it. We have a lot more people. All right, what else? Well, here's the secret. The freedom of one country. All right? So we are here to celebrate. These lessons are to help you discover the amazing thing that happened in the United States. And to just be so excited and happy about what happened. Because we love what we enjoy today, don't we? Even electric lights is amazing. We don't have candles anymore. We don't depend on kerosene lamps. Okay? So it was the freedom of one country. Okay? So why had this never happened before? Why? All right? That's the purpose of this lesson here. We actually have 5 lessons, I forgot to tell you at the beginning. And if we can pull together enough Saturdays, we'll do more of these. But this lesson is to help you to discover how this technology leap came about. All right, now I want you to open up your workbooks and go to the beginning there. This little preface you can read sometime on your own. And here we are, Lesson 1, Technology Leap and Free Enterprise. So would someone like to read the first paragraph? These 2 paragraphs here answer the questions 1 and 2. So we're going to look at that together so you can kind of see how this workbook goes along, okay? So I'll just read the first paragraph, and you keep your eye on answer 1 because this is going to be there. Drafters of the U.S. Constitution authorized Congress in Article 1, Section 8, to, quote, promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their writings and discoveries. Under the American system, genius was redefined as the opportunity of the many, not the rare gift of the few. The U.S. Patent Office became the engine of invention and allowed for genius to soar to its highest. Okay, so in question 1, do you see what it's asking for? All right, so go ahead and fill that in. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. Many people were given the opportunity to invent new technology and allow genius to soar in America. All right. Now, somebody read paragraph 2. Who would like to? Go ahead.
The patent system was praised as one of the great institutions of American Republic and the engine of invention and prosperity, a prime cause of the nation's remarkable inventiveness. Many rag-to-riches stories affirm the virtues of hard work and strong moral character. The poor mechanic may be put into possession of an idea that by development could place him among the rich of the land. People were empowered to attempt improvements in the details of a new invention, creating a cycle of perpetual development.
All right. Are you starting to get an inkling, an idea now of how this happened?
Yeah.
How we went from that farming by hand to what we have today? Okay, so question 2 then. One of the great institutions of the American Republic was the? Yes, patent. Let's see, there's 2 words there. So it is patent,
System?
right. Okay. All right. Now, so as we go along, I will hopefully not forget, but you kind of follow with me, and we'll answer those questions you see as we go along, okay? So we want to discover why this all happened. We want what could make this happen, all right? This is what happened in 200 years, okay? So we're going to look at what it was like in the time of the founders, what governments were like. So it was the freedom of one country. So if you look at other countries at the time of the founding fathers, the kings, the tsars, the sultans, they all had all different kinds of names, but they ruled. They had all the rights, all the power, and all the wealth. What was going on with individuals, with the people, the masses of people? What were they, how were they living?
Poverty.
Okay? This bar is showing that they had none of that. They lived as subjects to whoever the ruler was. They belonged to him. They obeyed him. They were held down so that they were not able to have rights, power, or wealth. This is what all governments were like. And the thing is, it hasn't changed in many places in the world. These are dictators that have been in the last 100 years, and there's dictators still today. So when you have this kind of a government, the individual is held down, is unimportant, and has no rights or opportunity. They have no opportunity to rise above poverty. Most of them live in poverty, are forced into wars, endless problems throughout their lives. Okay, so with the Constitution, this is what happened. Now, the individual is important. The individual does rise up where they can have rights, power, and wealth. The government was created to serve the people. So that's completely the opposite of what the governments were in the day of the founders. So now that's representative of this judicial department, the executive, and the legislative, right? So there's the three. And now they serve the people, all right? Now, looking back again at ruler's law, we have a question number 3. Under ruler's law, all the rights, and what are the 2 blanks? Power and wealth belong to the king or dictator, not to the people. So, you know, you have lived all your life in America, right? You have always known the amazing freedoms that we have. And so, unless you look at another country and see what other governments were like, how the people were treated, you probably don't hardly appreciate what you have. So we're going to show you what it's like without a constitution and government by the people. But, so as we go through other lessons, this is what you'll be discovering. And then, by contrast, you'll say, wow, we have the most amazing government. We have the most amazing opportunities. Freedom that no other country has known, and you'll understand why. Okay? So, along with now the people being up here, where they have rights, power, and wealth, this opportunity was provided for all. So what used to only be available to kings and his lords and ladies in the upper courts that ruled with him, now it's available for the individual. So that opportunity is for all. And the thing we're going to discover is that along with that freedom came responsibility. These two are inseparable. If you want to have freedom, you have to take responsibility. So we're going to show you that in these lessons too, that with this great government, this constitution that you have, that gives you so much freedom, you have responsibilities, and we'll teach you what it is you need to do to maintain this, okay? Actually, I wanted you to look on the back just now too. There's a quote from, we would say, General Washington or President Washington. He was a great statesman. Who would like to read his famous words? Go ahead.
A primal object should be the education of our youth in the science of government. And what duty more pressing than communicating it to those who are to be the future guardians of the liberties of the country? Okay.
So, you are the future guardians of this amazing liberty that we have. And this is our goal as teachers in Constitution in the Classroom, is to acquaint you with the amazing government that you have, what it would be like if you didn't have it, and what it was like before it was created. Okay? So, we want to alert you to the truth that you need to be guardians of it. And so as we go through, you are going to learn the science of government. That's what these lessons are about, is the science of government. Okay, so the documents were signed on these 2 dates. So which one, I have these 2 up here for you to see, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Which one was signed on July 4th?
Declaration of Independence.
You're right, right, because we actually call it Independence Day, don't we? So we have an entire lesson on the Declaration. It is absolutely amazing. You will love what you discover from the Declaration of Independence that you probably haven't been taught before. Okay, so then this is the other all-important day, September 17th, 1787. And that day is coming up in a few weeks. So at your schools, you should be celebrating Constitution Day on the 17th. And if your schools don't do anything, then you pull this book out and share it with your families and you celebrate it. And hopefully you'll discover today, and through our other lessons, there is great reason to celebrate our Constitution. Things to know about it and things you want others to know about it. Okay? So that's an important day. All right? So in this lesson, we're going to consider the consequence of government by the people. So, what had existed in the time of the founders was rule by a ruler's law. And then what the founders created was rule by the people, raising up the individual and making them important. That's where all those inventions came from. Like you read, the quotes that you read, those are in your book, so make sure you read those over again with your families and realize what happened in America after the Constitution. Okay, so the individuals became important. Instead of just being a masses, you actually can stand out and accomplish something amazing with your life. And with each one becoming important, it happened because of the new economic system that was created with the patent system and other laws. We'll look at other laws too that created what we call the free market or free enterprise. Have you heard those words before? Okay, free enterprise and free market. We want to have that become common, familiar. You need to really understand those terms. The opportunity known as the Great American Experiment. Have you heard of that before? Many of these great ideas that came out of the Constitution were taught in the schools for 100 years. And gradually, these important ideas have been replaced by other things in history. And really, to be Americans, to understand and appreciate your country, these things should never be left out of your education. The Great American Experiment was with self-government. It had not been tried before. And as we get into the founders writing the Constitution, we'll discuss where they got their ideas, because all around them was ruler's law. They had no other country to copy or to draw from. So it's amazing what they came up with. Okay? So, when we discuss, what we're going to talk about now is the free market or free enterprise. So, here's an idea introducing free enterprise. Do you like to be told what to do?
Not always.
You are all shaking your head. You really like freedom, don't you?
Yeah.
You really like liberty. You really like making choices, okay? Under free enterprise, that's one of the advantages. You choose what career you want to have. So, what ideas do you have? What do you want to be when you grow up, actually? You're only a few years away from it. What do you want to be?
Teacher?
A teacher? What else?
A teacher.
Teacher?
A doctor.
A doctor, yay. Think about it. What do you want to be?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Jacob, what do you want to be?
An engineer.
Engineer. Okay, Whitney, do you have an idea? Not yet. Okay, Mika?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, you will be deciding, and you need to appreciate the fact that there are countries where ruler's law still exists and the children are never asked what they want to be. This is a liberty that comes with free market, with free enterprise, with your Constitution. The opportunity to choose what you want to be. That's the first advantage of free enterprise. Okay? So you get to choose what you like best. So why do you want to be a doctor?
I want to help people.
Okay, she's very motivated by that. And I have a son who decided to become a doctor, and he's been 8 years in school and still has 2 more. And he loves what he does. All right? So when you choose what you do best, see all these different kinds of careers up here? You choose it because you really love that subject and you want to help people or be intelligent in that area. So let's see, who is going to be an engineer? So is it going to be easy to be an engineer? No. The same thing as a doctor, a lot of education, right? Okay, so now you think about it. If you choose what you're going to be, and we do like to make our own choices, once you choose, then it leads you into the next advantage of free enterprise, which is that hard work benefits you. You're not serving and working for a king who maintains all the wealth for himself or his group. So the reward benefits you. So you're in school preparing for graduation, and all of that work that you do is for your benefit. There's personal reward with that. And it's because, you know, when you pick what it is that you want to do, like being a doctor, when you get into those classes and they're darn hard, you're going to still be motivated because you've chosen it. It really makes a big difference if you choose it. And a lot of students that I talk to in classrooms, they'll say they want to be a baseball player or basketball. And I said, well, are you going to mind all those hours on the court or in the field? Hours and hours and hours of practice? No, I want to do it. That's what happens when you choose what you want to be. And so all of this, knowing that the benefit is going to be for you, then practice and hard work just comes naturally. But it is very important. It is a key to your success. That's the opportunity for you, and then you have to take the responsibility and go forward with that. Choose your career and then do the hard work, and it will benefit you. We have kind of a fun little experiment that we like to do with our lessons. So I'm going to give you a blank sheet of paper, and I want you to draw a line across the middle. We're going to do this really quick, just to show you. I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and you're going to draw stick figures. You know what I mean? Just a easy, quick stick figure. And we'll just do a few, because you see with our lessons we like to use lots of pictures. Okay? So don't start till I say go, and we're going to just time it for a few seconds. And we'll do a little experiment here to show you, to help you understand this. Okay? All right. Ready? Begin. Okay, stop. 10 seconds isn't very long, is it? Okay. Now, this time, we are going to draw stick figures again, but you will be rewarded for your work. Okay? So, this time we're going to see if you can draw more than you did the first time. All right? So, will a reward motivate you? Now, actually, you were working very hard the first time through. When we do this in a classroom, so many times the kids maybe do one. They just kind of dawdle. Actually, you can't just turn it over. For your second time, turn it over. So anyway, this experiment is to see, do you work harder when you get a reward? Okay? All right. So we'll go again for about 10 seconds. Begin. And stop. Okay, so how many of you did more this time than last time? Everybody? Pretty much. We had one very ingenuitive little boy one time, and he drew a whole bunch of circles, lines, line. And he had 22. It was amazing. Okay, so I'm going to pass these along. You can take out one for each of your stick figures. and reward yourself for your hard work. And we'll just go ahead so we don't take too much time. Okay, so can you see that if you're going to get the reward, it just is human nature. You work harder. So it's amazing. As we go through the advantages of free enterprise, you discover that the founding fathers understood all these different aspects of human nature, and they created rules for people that help them be their absolute best. And that's the amazing thing we find with this. Okay, now we're on to, let's see, are you following in your workbooks? We are now on advantage number 3. And there's the question for this part. Who owns these things that you see pictured here? Okay, so we're up to number 7, so hopefully you're going along with those. Okay, who owns these? Yes, individuals do. This is not the king's realm. He doesn't own all the farmland. He doesn't own everything that goes on in his kingdom. That's the way it was in the day of the founders. They had no ownership. People were just peasants. They just worked for the king or for the lord of that part of the land who was under the king. So you see, it changed with the Constitution. So people can even just design clothing, and their idea can be patented, and no one else can make that unique dress or article of clothing of any kind. And you see right here, cosmetics. If someone invents a new thing that's really good for your skin, they patent it, they get the reward for their years of research and study and producing it. Okay, so you see, you can own a medical clinic. Some people love mechanics. They can own their own shop if they want. Look at all this technology. All of those things, even huge factories, they aren't owned by the government. People own them. And this is the advantage with free market. You're free to own your own business, and you're free to own your own ideas. So when you read that introductory paragraph about the genius of the patent system, that's what was created by the Constitution. Okay, so here we're on the 4th advantage of free enterprise. How does competition and consumer control improve business? Do you understand what competition is? Where the companies are making the same thing. How many car dealers are there? Right? All these different manufacturers make cars, so they are competing with each other. Now, this is an advantage, and we want you to understand it. It improves business. Remember, I want you to just keep this image constantly in your mind. How did we go from walking to landing on the moon in so short a time? All those hundreds of years, nothing happened. And then amazingly, in only 200 years, it all came about. Okay, so one of the reasons is competition. All right, so here's what happens. You see the little boy. This is our sample business. There he is with his lemonade stand. When he opens up his little stand and there's no one else on the block, then he can sell at whatever price he wants, even if it's sour, he can sell lemonade. But if others on the street open up lemonade stands, then what happens to the price? If you want the business, then you find a way to make it cheaper. Okay? So better prices come when there's competition. Okay? So then look at this. They start to come up with fancy stands, more products to sell, a different idea, so there's greater production and the incentive to improve. All of this comes from competition. So is competition good?
Yes.
Do we want competition?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a little bit of risk with competition?
Yes.
Yes, there is. Okay. But one more idea. Also, there's economic efficiency. Here he is selling lots of lemonade, having a great time, and then a recession comes. It gets cold. Nobody wants lemonade. So then what do? Adjust the price. Adjust the price. So the price fits the need, fits the people. Okay? So all of these advantages of competition is what made this happen. And if you, actually I want you to turn now to in your books, near the end, page 14 I think it is. Okay. There you will see this very interesting picture. Okay? This was the invention of the airplane, which is so amazing, so amazing. The Wright brothers' soaring success. How much did it cost them? $1,000 of their own money, with lots and lots and lots of hard work. Okay, now look at the one down below. Look at that flying machine. It was about the same time frame. This other scientist got government funding. How much did his cost?
$50,000.
$50,000 of public money plus $20,000 from other private donors, a total of $70,000. And do you know what this machine did? Off it stand right into the water. It was on a river where they were going to try it out. You know, if they land in the water, then the pilot won't get hurt. So they were constantly trying to be safe. Anyway, isn't that an interesting comparison? So an individual doing his own work is much more successful than free money. When you're just given free money by the government, then it changes how you go about your work. So we like to keep government out of free enterprise. Free enterprise means that you are free of government control. And if government tries to get into it, this is a perfect example of the failure that can happen. So we see that these advantages of free enterprise are really motivating to people. The opportunity to own things, to benefit from your own hard work, and to have competition. Competition puts a little bit of risk into it, but then we get better prices, greater production, incentive to improve, and economic efficiency. So it fits with the economy of the time, okay? All right, so this brings to a very important part about freedom. Why does freedom come with risk? So these pictures kind of show you what we mean by risk. It's important to understand that there is risk with freedom. Sometimes when people start a business and it fails and they have to sell out, they might think, oh, let's not have free enterprise anymore. All right, well, free enterprise is working really good and accomplishing so much in our country. So before you even get into it, before you start your life and your career, just know if we don't have risk, we can't have freedom. They come together, okay? So life equals risk. There can be failure. There can be going out of business. There can be everything upset. But if you take away risk, the only way you can then live is to have servitude. Okay? You don't have to take any risk, just come over here and do the work I tell you to do. Okay, if you want freedom, then you have to take risk with it. All right? So this is another important part of just human nature. There will be failure with it. Okay? So it can allow risk or trade liberty for security. And if you want security, you just know you're not going to have freedom. You're not going to choose anymore. You're going to just do what you're told to do, which takes us back to the question, do you want to be told what to do? Okay, so accept this, there's going to be some risk with your freedom and your ability to make that choice. And this is a question that is pressing on people in this country. Do we want this freedom or do we want to get rid of risk? You must know it takes away freedom. Okay? All right, this is the fifth advantage of the free market. Individuals are responsible for their own success or their own failure. So if you work hard in school and you graduate and you go on to college, that is the work that's going to bring you success. If you choose to drop out, does that change your likelihood of success?
Yes.
Right. So there is a lot of responsibility with freedom. Okay? But we love it, don't we? I take it. Yes, I want the freedom. I'll take the risk with it because I want to make my own choices. Okay? Sorry. Here you see people that are working hard, even if it's a labor job. It doesn't matter. If you are not really intelligent, you just like work, you like building something or seeing something improved or a road built. People who are laborers love what they are part of, the improvements in our community. So it doesn't matter what you choose, but you're responsible for success. Okay, so here you see pictures of those choosing not to work hard, right? So free enterprise gives you that choice. You can be working hard, studying, learning things, and preparing for a career, or allowing your own failure. Okay? So this is a we don't always teach this to young students, but when you're close to being out on your own and graduating from high school, then these are important things to know. Okay? All right. So we'll go to discussing this just a little bit more. There are those who are looking for a free ride, who have in mind, well, others can do the work. I'm not going to. Hard work isn't for me. Have you ever heard anyone say that before? And the older you get, the more you hear it. Get someone else to work for me. So what happens when some choose not to work or take responsibility? This is another very huge question in our country today. What are we going to do about those who choose not to work? Is the government responsible? Does the Constitution allow us to take care of those who choose not to work? This is an important thing for you to understand. This is a question. Should the federal government take care of personal needs? So here's some personal needs. We need money to buy our food and stuff. That's not so much a need as something we love, but who lives without a TV? All right? Who lives without a vehicle? All right? So if you've chosen not to work, what do you think? Does the Constitution direct us to take care of people who choose not to take the responsibility? This is what you're going to be discovering in our Constitution. Okay, here's the answer. Federal government is to promote equal opportunity, not to provide equal things. Okay, and I think that's one of your questions. Did you find that in your workbook? Okay, it is number 10. Okay, I see you writing. I'm so glad. You're staying right with me. Okay, so you are learning that with freedom, there is risk. With freedom, you are responsible for your own success or failure, and you need to know that the Constitution doesn't provide for us to have equal things. It provides for us to have equal opportunity. And so when we think about this, is responsibility connected to freedom? I actually already showed you this. Okay, so we're going to do a little demonstration here. Here you see someone who's found a job, who loves being a part of the community, to be a fireman. So he provides for himself income for his family so he can buy a house. Okay, here's another example. If you want to be in a sport, the responsibility is yours to do the workout, to build up the muscles and the skill and the ability to do it. Then what does that responsibility bring? The freedom to perform. Then you are free to actually make the basket, make the touchdown, do all the great things that sports people do. So this is where this comes in real important. If you, like on the slide that we showed before, don't want to do the work and you want to not have that responsibility, if you give away responsibility, what happens to freedom? You need to understand you're also giving away your freedom. There's a funny little story that we use with younger kids, the ant and the grasshopper. Do you know that fable? Where the ants are working hard all summer collecting their food. It's kind of like Bug's Life too. Then the grasshopper comes to take the food, right? Well, in the original fable, the ants are working and then they have all their food. They have taken responsibility. So come winter, they're free to eat as much as they want. They have their house, they have their all different kinds of food that they love. And the grasshopper who played and danced and sang and did not take responsibility, come winter, then he didn't have freedom to eat as much or whatever he wanted. He had to go ask for it or steal it. So here he gave up his freedom because he gave up his responsibility. Okay, you see how they're very connected? Okay, that's another important truth that the founders understood and incorporated it into the Constitution. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Okay, here's another important question. Do you want to keep what you earn? So who's had a job? You've had a job? Where did you work?
I use piano.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so is it kind of fun when you get paid?
Yes.
All right. And would you want someone to come and take your money?
No.
No. Anyone else had a job? Earned money? Well, you will be. You're very close to it. And when you get that first paycheck, it's really amazing. You just love it. And if you get a job where with another business and get the check, then you will appreciate that you do want to keep what you earn. And when we think about this idea, then it ties us back into our discussion of the Constitution and our free market. Free market provides, this is kind of like a review. This is showing you again what the advantages are. Individual choice and responsibility, individual profits and rewards. Okay? No market regulations, that means competition, brings in the element of risk, but there's no government controlling it. It is a free market. And individual ownership. These are all advantages that brought about the technology leap, allows you to keep what you earn. Keeping what you earn is important, and it didn't happen under ruler's law, under kings. Okay? So, in our country, as you grow up and begin to vote and to look at the government and see what's going on in government, you'll hear this idea, government enforced collectivism. They'll not say enforced, they'll say collectivism. Or they'll make it sound good where you don't have to have risk anymore, where you are secure, where you are given what you need. Okay? So, what we want you to understand is that you can't have both. You either have individual freedom or you give your responsibility to the government and let them take care of you. If you give away your responsibility, you have to give away your freedom. Okay? So, there are those who want to take what you earn in the form of taxes and divide it among those who don't have. And more than likely, many of those who don't have is because they didn't take responsibility, they chose to be not working hard. Okay? So, this is a huge controversy in our country. So, Get solid in your mind. If you want freedom, if you want to keep what you earn, if you want to not be told what to do, then you take responsibility. Okay? All right. So, summary, free market provides opportunity. Look at all these different things. Free to try what you want. Free to earn rewards. Free to take home your money and not have someone else take it. Unfortunately, when you get a job, when you get your first check, you think, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and you'll find the government's taken off a little bit of it. And it keeps increasing. All right? So you got to think in mind, do I want to keep what I earn? Okay? Freedom to own, buy, and sell. All right? Freedom to sell stuff if you want. You don't want the government control of when you buy and sell. Okay? Free to fail and free to succeed. You're responsible for it. I hope when you finish this lesson that when you go to school you're thinking, oh, this is rewarding me. If I do my homework, it's benefiting me. And it's going to provide me with success in my future. Okay? Free to create wealth. So who can do this? Who?
Everyone.
Everyone. Anyone willing to work hard. A little qualifier. Anyone willing to work hard and take responsibility. This is what the founders knew people needed. And this is what is so amazing. When they created this opportunity, it came to be known as the land of opportunity. And there's no other country in the world that's ever been called this, land of opportunity. And people began coming from everywhere. They wanted to live in America. See all these pictures? These are immigration pictures. We came to be known as the melting pot because of it. They came from everywhere to be in America, and it's still happening. These are the Haitian boat people. Just look at the map. Here's Haiti. Their economy tanked. They had huge poverty, no opportunity. It was a mess there. So they wanted to go live somewhere else. They didn't go to Cuba. Why? What's in Cuba? Dictatorship, communism, ruler's law. So you don't have those freedoms there. So they zigzagged all around until they went a whole lot farther to get to the United States, where there was the opportunity. A country that rewarded hard work and initiative. That's what you live in. Are you glad you have a Constitution? Are you beginning to appreciate if I said, what has the Constitution done for you? Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. And every lesson teaches you new things. Okay? So, whoops, New York Harbor. All right. So, as we go through our lessons, we often quote our founding fathers with great ideas to remember. And I'm not sure if I don't think these are in your book. Okay, who would like to read Ben Franklin's statement? Mika, do you mind reading? Okay, go ahead, Jacob.
It is in the regions of ignorance that tyranny begins.
Okay, so you are the lucky ones that get to be here and have Constitution in the Classroom lesson so that you are not ignorant. And we're going to show you in another lesson things to be aware of where tyranny could take over America again. So, you don't want to be ignorant, do you? Okay, he gave us warning. It is in the region of ignorance. So education is going to preserve our freedoms, just like George Washington said. You have to preserve the future guardians. You, the future guardians, need to be able to understand the science of government. So we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about politicians, we talk about the science of government. And you've seen just a little bit of it here today. Okay, who wants to read Thomas Paine? Okay, now Mika.
Okay. Those who enjoy the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigue of supporting it.
Okay. Did you know that you need to work at it? There's going to be some fatigue to support the blessing of freedom. Freedom is a blessing. It's amazing. And what you have in America is the greatest that ever happened from the beginning of, all the way down the end of that timeline. And because of it, the evidence of it is the technology leap. So when you hop in the car and go home today, you'll think, thank you for my Constitution. All right? Appreciate what the founders came up with that promoted it, that generated, that was the catalyst for it. That's how it came about. Okay? Oh, actually, we need to do one more activity on the timeline here that I forgot. Okay, so you see on here, this is to show you how the technology leap happened in this very short time. So in our lessons, we studied the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Founding Fathers. You're going to discover that it required all three for this technology leap to happen. So in the future now, when I show you the timeline, you're going to see that all three were needed in order to bring this about. And all the inventions, all the wonderful things that we enjoy and use in our modern day began with those three. Okay? All right, so here's the final question. Will you be a defender of the Constitution?
Yes.
Let me hear y'all say it loud.
Yes.
Okay, very good. This concludes our first lesson, and thank you.